What if I told you there's a hidden, ancient blueprint connecting the smartphone in your hand to a philosophy that's thousands of years old? Sounds a little out there, right? Well, today we're going to explore that exact link, and you'll see it reveals some really surprising things about how our world is put together. So yeah, how on earth are these two things connected? It really does sound like a riddle. But the answer is hiding in plain sight, right inside the tech we use every single day. And to find it, we've got to start at the very, very heart of our digital world. To really wrap your head around this connection, we need to pop the hood on our electronics and look at the brain of the whole operation. The central processing unit, the CPU. It's this incredible piece of complex engineering, but how do you even make something like that from scratch? Well, it's a perfect lesson in how you get something really complex from something super simple. It all starts with a basic element, usually something like germanium. Then, by adding tiny controlled impurities, you create the fundamental building blocks, things like diodes and transistors. You can think of them as millions of tiny little light switches. And finally, all those little switches are assembled into the final product, the complex, powerful CPU. And just think about that for a second. This one product, which started as just a simple element, becomes the engine for practically everything. Your phone, your laptop, even your car, the whole global telecom network. It all runs on this tiny little brain. Okay, so hold that idea in your mind. A simple element becoming a complex engine. Now, we're going to do a complete 180. We're going to travel way, way back in time to an ancient philosophical framework called Vedanta. And what's wild is that it describes the exact same process. So, this framework starts with a concept called adhisthana. The easiest way to think about it is as the ultimate source, right? The fundamental, unchanging reality that everything else is built on. It's the raw material of existence itself. Now, building on that base, on that adhisthana, we get the next layer, ashraya. This represents all the intermediate forms, the building blocks that come directly from that fundamental stuff. They're the first bits of structure that start to show up. And finally, all those building blocks, the ashraya, come together to create Vishwa. This is the final complex thing we actually see and interact with. It's the fully realized object out here in the real world. And this is where it all clicks. When you put these two systems side by side, the pattern is identical. The germanium, that's the adhisthana, the base substratum. The components, the diodes and transistors, that's the ashraya, the support structures. And the final CPU, that's the Vishwa, the complex manifestation. It's the same blueprint, just separated by thousands of years and totally different fields. It's incredible. But okay, this isn't just some weird one-off coincidence between tech and philosophy. No way. This turns out to be a fundamental pattern that you can see repeated all over the place. Let's just take a look at a couple of examples from nature to see how deep this really goes. This chart just illustrates it perfectly. Let's take the ocean. The waves that you see, the thing you experience, that's the Vishwa. The whole ocean itself, the big body of water that supports the waves, that's the ashraya. And the fundamental thing they're both made of, the adhisthana, it's just water. The same logic works for a wooden table. The table is the final form. The wood is its support, and the earth that the tree grew from is that ultimate substratum. You see the pattern, right? In every single one of these cases, the final thing and its building blocks are really just different forms of the same single underlying stuff. A table is just a temporary form of earth. Waves are just a temporary form of water. And a CPU is just a temporary, really smart form of germanium. Now, this three-part structure isn't only about how things are built. It also perfectly describes their entire life cycle, that universal rhythm of creation, existence, and eventual decay that applies to absolutely everything. So let's go back to our CPU. It's not just a static object, it has a life. First you have its creation, which is called srishti, where that germanium is shaped into a processor. Then you have its period of functioning, or sthiti, where it's in your phone doing its job for years. And then, finally, it reaches its end and decays and it stops working. And that's the fundamental rhythm of everything, isn't it? Creation, functioning, and decay. Srishti, sthiti, and then the end. We see it in our tech, we see it in the waves on the ocean, we see it in our own lives. It's a universal constant. So, after looking at all of this, from CPUs to ancient Vedanta, what's the big idea here? What's the main thing we should be taking away from looking at our most advanced technology through this incredibly old lens?
Well, the key insight is actually pretty simple, but it's huge. It's that all the incredible, mind-boggling diversity and complexity we see in the world, every table, every wave, every CPU, is really just a temporary arrangement of a single underlying source. All that complexity, in the end, is just a different form of one simple thing.
So, this ancient framework? It's not just some philosophical curiosity from a history book. It's a powerful new way of seeing the world. It challenges us to look past all the surface-level complexity and see the hidden unity in everything. So, the next time you pick up your phone, just remember that ancient blueprint inside of it and ask yourself, what's the germanium of the world I see?